He's back with a football resume that reads like the Guinness Book of World Records. Parade Magazine All-Star, Collegiate All-American, and NFL All-Pro. Shaun Alexander has returned to his old stomping grounds. When you think of Alabama football, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Championships. That was the thing that attracted me the most to Alabama when I was in high school, that they were always one of the best. And then, I didn't know until I got here on this campus about how crazy, and that's a good thing, and how passionate the fans are. And that has not stopped, not one bit. so that keeps it exciting.
Is there an Alabama player that you think is really similar to you?
Well, I tell you, Mark and Trent, they are both just phenomenal. I think that Mark breaks tackles like I do. Like, you just don't know. It's kind of, you don't really know how he's doing it, because it's not like, Trent, it looks like he just mashes people and then he just breaks a tackle. Mark has the ability that I've done for a long time of getting people off balance just enough where if you're watching it, doesn't look like it's happening, but he gets them off balance and then he runs hard, and he breaks a lot of tackles and makes big plays off of it.
So the fighter in both of them, it sounds like.
Yeah, there is. I think that if you're going to play for our university, you've got to be a fighter. And that means because, every school has got like things that they can do, but there's not too many schools that have our legacy. And you wake up in the morning, you put on a crimson and white jersey, and then you have to decide, am I going to be able to write a piece of this chapter? And and it's people without fighting spirits, they don't.
Is there an Alabama player this year that surprised you at all on the football team?
Not yet. I got to watch them a lot last year, so I've kind of watched them grow. So they're all doing exactly what I expect them to do. I think that for us to win a national championship, that somebody's going to have to surprise me, and hopefully it happens.
Now, speaking of the national championship, were you nervous at all during that game against Texas?
No. I usually, if I show up, it's usually the games that I think are pretty big. And, I thought the SEC championship was a big one. I thought Virginia Tech, the first game of the season last year, was big. I thought the blackout a couple years ago when we played Georgia was big, and in those games I went to, and they just handled it. And so I think this game is big. I thought Arkansas and Florida were the two big ones. And last week we had a good win, as Coach Stone used to always say. Oh, this is a great win. You'd be like, why do you think it's a great win? We barely won. He's like, hey, try to explain to somebody if we had lost it. So we had a great win against Arkansas, and here we are, Florida again.
Sounds like you have some high expectations.
Well, I think that at our school, if you don't expect to win a national championship, then you're at the wrong school.
Now, someone who was a former Alabama standout, Glenn Coffey, obviously he just walked away from the NFL after 1 year of playing. What was your reaction to that? Because I know you had a long career.
Well, I would say this. I don't know. I have not talked to Glenn. I talked to Glenn before he left for San Francisco and got to play, but I have not talked to him when he decided to leave. And I know that, at least I hear, that the biggest thing about this was about his faith and him wanting to be called into ministry. And I'm one of them people that if God's giving you the time to play football, then maybe your calling is to dominate the football field and let people know that you're a man of God playing football. And I think that sometimes people get super spiritual about that. Oh, you love Jesus? Go be a pastor. I'm like, pastor has just a little people in his circle. Football players, if they're going to impact people for Jesus, they can be actually stand righteous and be morally correct and dominate the football field. Like, Billy Graham and Franklin Graham came out here my sophomore year, so I'd have been like, okay, not playing football after my junior year or after my sophomore year, no junior year, no senior year, no pros. I'm going to go do ministry. Everybody be like, well, what's that Shaun Alexander guy doing? He was a guy of potential, and I don't know. I can't judge it. I mean, it was his call, but I think that if he'd have got some better advice, it might have been better.
Well, maybe you can talk him out of it. It's never too late.
He's young enough to make a great comeback, so hopefully he does.
Thanks.
Roll Tide!
Roll Tide! Despite not playing anymore, Shaun Alexander continues to make an impact on the Alabama community. For ESPNU Campus Connection, I'm Britton Lynn.